Boys, what's going on? Legendary here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Data Gaming XP Grind, episode 87. So today we're going to be working on rune crafting, and honestly, range is just a few days away, and we're really excited about it. I think it's going to make a lot of changes for the game. I don't think there's going to be any new monsters. We've talked about that quite a bit, why it doesn't really make any sense. Obviously, those new monsters are going to have drops, and those have to really stay in line. And if you just start coming out with creatures for no reason, then you've got extra items of things that are already in the game. So I think it would just make more sense to wait till Valhalla potentially. Another cool thing is the Abyssal Demon. Not the Abyssal Demon, sorry, the Lesser Demon, which obviously I heard about, and then I just didn't hear anything else about it. And hopefully they still plan on bringing it to the game. I think it's really cool. Obviously, maybe they could drop what's that one a blood rune. I mean, they sort of mentioned blood runes as something that might come out by killing the things inside the vaults, the creatures, the elementals. But maybe that's something they're planning on doing in Felhollow. I'm not quite sure. One thing that would actually be really cool is if they increase the amount of abyssal demons that are currently in the game. I feel like there's not enough. But then again, they do give quite a bit of XP, and so I think they're trying to keep that as something that is sought after, and you have to sort of hunt it down. But we'll see. You never know. They might try to add more abyssal demons later on in the game in a different location, which I think would still be really cool. Pretty much whatever they decide to add or whatever they decide to do, as long as it works and it's enjoyable, I'm all game for it. So obviously, rune crafting is probably the most exciting skill in the game right now for me, even though it's not like it's pretty important. I mean, I use it a lot, but I think it's the most important for me in the game because it's obviously a very tedious skill. Wood cutting, there's a ton of them, a ton of trees, right? And cooking obviously is just terrible. It takes forever. But I find rune crafting to be quite therapeutic, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you're probably going to need to have a high level to access high level runes, high level spells, things like that. And I don't know, there was always something really cool in the old RuneScape about basically mining rune essence, even though it wasn't, I don't want to say worthless in the other RuneScape, but it wasn't very valuable. There was just something really cool about mining it. So it's also going to be really interesting to see what they do with the game in regards to basically things like that, like maybe potentially bigger rune essence nodes, or I guess they could go a lot of ways with it. Got no idea, right? But there's so many cool things that can be done. Potentially caverns that are full of rune essence. Maybe once you get to a higher level, if you want to take a risk, maybe there's dragons in there with the rune essence, but they're gigantic nodes that just give a ridiculous amount. So I think it's going to be really cool to see how they might go about doing things like that. I'm not sure if their mind is in that sort of place. And one of my favorite places in the old RuneScape game was actually Shiloh Village. When you go and you can mine all the gems, obviously that was really cool. And you had to do all these quests to get there, and it was just something really cool about being able to finally experience that, because it took quite a while to actually get access to it because of all the requirements. So that's also another really big thing that could change in this game once they add requirements to weapons and things like that. And then obviously having the skill level to actually be able to make it. So I guess you could always jump to another server if you do that sort of thing, which I only play on one server. At one point I did go to another server just to sort of see what it would be like to play with other people. And I only did that for maybe about 10 minutes. It was not really for me. And pretty much the point of that really is that if you've got friends with high levels and you potentially go to their world, then you might be able to get a weapon that maybe you couldn't craft, but that really wouldn't help you in the regard that if you didn't have the appropriate level to wield it. So, I mean, it does a lot to a point, but then there's the other point of, can you actually use it? So it's sort of like in RuneScape when you had the Grand Exchange, you could buy anything you wanted in there if you had enough money. But then, did you have the requirements to wield it? It sort of goes to that. So I do actually, in fact, really like the fact that they've decided to go with requirements. And the reason for that is basically it sort of makes the player have to work for it a little bit more. And also for our own benefit, I feel like the more time you put into the game, then you're going to be well versed and sort of more knowledgeable. And it can help you in your own progression. I know that just learning different things about the game and better ways to do things, paths, and just cool things. I don't know when the last time I necessarily learned anything quite new, but I think that's because I put so much time into the game. Recently, I mean, not really recent, but the whole allowing to grab items a little bit easier. I found out about that maybe like a month and a half ago or so, and maybe even a little bit further back. I can't remember, but that was actually a huge help. I used to click on every item. So there's little things here and there. I actually tried to do it because I thought it might be possible, but I was clicking the wrong control button on the keyboard. You, I guess, had to click a certain one, and if you didn't, it obviously would not respond for some reason. So I had this idea that it might work, and then I sort of investigated it a little bit more once someone mentioned it to me. So I think we can all keep learning, and I think it's important to learn. My axe is about to break, so we are probably going to have to fix it, but it's a really quick fix. So let's go ahead and go do that really quick before we go any further. I think that's going to be really important and critical. So let's do this really quick. Okay, so that's done. And I think I accidentally left the bars in my inventory. We don't want them in there. And then I guess since we're here, we could drop off all this rune essence because it is taking up space. And then we've got these resources from the rat that we had to kill because he attacked us. So let's go ahead and get back to it. Now I've got to try to remember which ones I did and which ones I did not do. So, and these ones sort of roll down the hill, which is such an inconvenience, but it is what it is. We're getting quite a bit of resources, even though we didn't make massive piles. Look up there. You could just see how much rune essence there is in the game. It's actually quite exciting. I suppose I could already be closer to 1,000,000 XP if I had made more lodestones, and sort of maybe grab ones I didn't use in other areas anymore, and sort of move them basically in better positions so I could keep collecting from places. But the truth is, I think I'm already doing quite a bit, so I don't really think I need to do that. I think I'm already doing overkill. But plus, I also mentioned how these runs take quite a bit of time, so it's also important for myself and for the viewers to basically make sure I'm not spending too much time running around collecting this, because obviously for myself, it's therapeutic to a point. But obviously we have so many locations we've already got to go to that there is a point where you're basically like, are we almost done? This is taking forever. And I feel that, and if I'm feeling it, then most definitely, then anybody who's watching would probably feel it. But also there's important information I suppose I can talk about. Really right now, there's not a crazy amount. I feel like more of it's just like, what's going on in the game? What would I like to see? And then also little things along the way that are changing in the game. There's been little updates quite frequently, actually. When the game first came out, we were not really hearing a lot from the game developers. We were basically on our own, which was interesting because obviously we were already happy with what was in the game, and then we sort of were wondering, okay, we've sort of hit the end of what there is right now, and like, when are we going to get more, and etc., etc. So obviously these things got answered, and then now we have a clear understanding of what we have to look forward to. And obviously they're doing a great job. But so much XP we're getting right now for rune crafting, so this is going to be really important, and we've just got to keep going. I don't think I've got a lodestone up here. This is one of the ones I missed, and unfortunately I do wish that I actually did have a lodestone here, because I'm like right here. I might as well have one. So I don't know, it's so tough because I already go to so many locations. Does it really make sense to sort of go back and add lodestones in a couple more locations? I know that I'm going to be uprooting all of them once I actually get 1,000,000 rune crafting. And then maybe in the new zones, we can start adding more, I suppose, to work on it out there. I don't really think I'm going to be doing that. I think most of the time that I spend on the game once Fellow comes is going to be exploring new areas, working on farming, working on cooking, and then obviously the combat methods and then building some different things, and basically just trying to fight new monsters, work on quests, things like that. And it's going to be so much to work on. I'm hoping so anyway. From the way they describe it, there's just going to be hours and hours of content to basically get lost in. And I think that's another really cool thing about RuneScape Dragonwilds. It just seems that there's endless things that you can sort of get lost in. I still got one quest to do right now. Obviously, I'm going to get to it at some point, but I've just been grinding away at this XP, so it hasn't really been on the must-do now list. And it seems like there's a lot more essence sort of waiting here, so I'm not sure why that is, but this side won't have as much because so much of it falls off the cliff. So I almost thought I was going to fall off the cliff there. But see, we've still got the whole Storm-touched Islands, and then we've got a couple other places. Is it in the Fractured Plains in the upper region? So you can see here how long it actually takes. It takes quite a bit of time. And then that's why I usually will actually, I'll get all this, and then I won't make the runes in the same video. Sometimes when there's too much on the ground, I actually won't even do all the essence in one video, because honestly it's just so much time, and I don't want to sort of do that. I feel like it's quite a lot. But we're making progress. We're working our way. It just takes time, and then you gather it all, and we've got an archer over there. I don't know how we didn't aggro him, but I'm grateful that we didn't, because I really don't want to deal with that right now. So let's go ahead and blast some of these up. We've got wolves. They're incoming right now. So let's go ahead and kill him with this whip, even though we do not need any more attack XP. And then we unfortunately happen to aggro another one. It's not the end of the world. We can always use more cooking resources. But ultimately, that was a quick work. As long as it's not creatures, then for the most part, we're okay. And then we've got these three here. So you can see there's like quite a bit of areas that we've got lodestones to gather rune essence. So that's how we're working on rune crafting, and it's happening so fast. We're putting in large amounts of time, and we also do work behind the scenes. We shoot down some of these, and you might not be seeing us do that, but so it definitely takes quite a bit of time, and it's all just basically we motivate ourselves to keep on track. It's pretty important, and we want to make sure we're sticking to it and getting it done. So it doesn't seem like there's very much essence here as well. I can't believe how much we're going to have, though. Usually we have about a half a storage chest worth, but I feel like, I mean, we already sort of banked once, and we still got quite a bit to go, so we might actually have a lot more than I'm really going to be thinking by the end. And then once we turn it into runes, I wonder how much XP we're going to have. It's potentially going to give us a good idea of how much more time we're going to have to actually spend mining rune essence before we get to 1 million. I'm 100% certain we're going to have 1 million rune crafting XP before Fell Hollow comes to the game, which is going to make things a little bit interesting, because at that point, then what are we going to be working on? We're just going to be working on cooking. So that's going to be a little bit terrible. But I guess we do have range coming to the game, so we can start using range to do it. But ultimately, like, that's going to kind of suck. Not really having anything else to sort of work on except for cooking. But then, like I said, we've got range. So that will allow us to gather more materials for cooking. But obviously, it's fun when you've got more things to work on. But look at all that essence out there. Quite a bit. It looks like I didn't shoot any of those down either. And my bow's not fixed. So that's actually going to be really important to shoot down any essence that potentially did respawn. So I think we're going to grab some opals really quick and fix our bow. I feel like we've already put so much time right now, though. But it's okay. This episode will just have to be a little bit longer. It's not the end of the world. But maybe we should bank our essence, because I feel like we're actually going to have so much, which doesn't make any sense to me. But let's get back to it. So it looks like these spawned. See, this is also a new lodestone that we usually didn't really get. We decided to place one here. So, I mean, I would say that's why we're going to have more. But I don't think so, really. I'm not sure what's going on. But we've got a bunch more lodestones that we placed so we could actually get more. And what I'd like to see is all these lodestones pulled up and not have as many out here, and sort of start getting all of the vault calls back to base so we can prepare for Fell Hollow. But that's not really... Some of them actually I've got to leave, because if you think about it, I'm going to be hunting out here, and so quite a bit of them actually are right where they're at anyway for hunting purposes, so we're going to leave a lot of them actually out here. I guess once Fell Hollow comes to the game, we won't really need any of this stuff out here. So we'll leave a couple just in case there's potentially something we need out here. I really don't know what that would be. I don't really know the reason I would need to leave them. But in the case that there is something, I'd rather be prepared for it than unprepared and have to deal with it. So let's go ahead and blast all these rocks. There is some rune essence over there. It just makes sense to get it, since obviously I'm investing this large amount of time, more so I feel like than I usually do while I'm mining this. So I want to try to grab as much as I can, and then that way I get a bigger chunk of XP. But that's another thing. I mean, it's crazy to think that I'm basically going to have almost all the things that I wanted to basically have at a certain level completed. So it's just such a huge accomplishment, and I definitely feel rewarded. I think, like I've stated before, rune crafting is going to be the one thing, once I finally finish it, I'm going to feel very accomplished. It's going to feel great, because I don't know what it is about rune crafting, but even in the old RuneScape, it was like, once you had 99 rune crafting, you sort of had a feeling about it. It was very interesting. It just brought a lot of gratification. We're not going to grab all the loose one down there that fell, but obviously there's quite a bit right here we can grab. I might actually want to put lodestone up here. I mean, I'm not going to. The problem is I get crazy. I sort of just want to have a lodestone on every single corner, and I can't really do that. It's a little bit ridiculous, and at the same time, it's unnecessary. But I don't like to have to run everywhere when I'm sort of changing position and things like that. So let's go ahead and grab the rest of this rune essence, which we're getting close to being done with, and then we can see how much XP we got, and we'll do an XP update. And then in one of the future episodes, we can obviously make the runes. It's so hard to see all these sheep and ram out here and just leave them. It bothers me. It always bothers me. All the dwellberries, just running by them, not picking the food up. That's why I say anybody who potentially has made it this far in this video, or potentially watches my other videos, just make sure you're collecting things in the very beginning of the game. Basically, make things easier for yourself later. You're going to need these things, so you might as well start gathering them and put yourself a step ahead. Because I think at the beginning, you're more so focused on basically just trying to explore and enjoy the game, and then you sort of realize, even if you're not going for max, even if you're just going to slowly progress with the game, it would make a lot of sense to have these resources, as some of them you use to repair items, so you don't need to have 1,000,000 of them, but obviously it's important to have some of them, so you can repair items while you play the game. It hurts me to see all those sheep and ram just running free and enjoying the day, but can't do it all. So yeah, I think we usually use about 3 rune crafting potions, but I think this time I'm probably going to end up using about 4, maybe 5. I like how rune essence doesn't take up a lot of space in the inventory, just because obviously the way we gather it, there's so much, so it can be a little bit tricky with that. And obviously you don't want to have to bank 1,000,000 times. So we pretty much got all that. But I forgot. Here's more. So I don't know why, but it just seems like we've gotten so much more than we normally do. I feel like this is going to be a really, really long video. I think that's what happened is we cut back on how many places we went. And then this time I think we're sort of hitting more of them. And I think that's why it's taken so long. Because we still get quite a ways to go. And there's still so much to get. So obviously I want to make sure we get all of it though. It's important. And now we've got to worry about that tree or that plant. Which honestly I think I want to build another lodestone right there. And the only reason is not because of the essence. Because I'm tired of fighting this tree here. This plant. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just irritating. Should have used magic. It would have been faster. And now he's going to shoot me. Oh, no. Looks like we interrupted with our arrow. There we go. So he's dead. And now we can shoot down this essence and then collect it. But you can see, obviously, my aim is getting a lot better in the game. And that's just because of how often I do this. But there are times when I notice my aim is a little bit off, which isn't really that big of a deal. But I do take pride in the fact that obviously I can get the shots in. It's a pretty cool feeling. But I think that's all going to go away. Well, maybe not for essence shooting, but definitely when you fight creatures. They're probably going to add some sort of auto assist, which makes sense. Obviously, you want the game to be enjoyable, and especially when you're fighting bosses and they've got lots of different mechanics going on. So I think it makes it a little bit more enjoyable for a lot of people. This is going to take a second. I don't know why it lags when I load in right here, but it does. But it doesn't take that long. We're going to grab this one. I think we've got about another like 7 locations to hit, which is terrible. But obviously we've got to do it. So get it out the way and keep moving forward. We've obviously got a warrior out there, and we don't want to aggravate him. We want to try to have a smooth transition here into what we've got to do next. So we don't really have to worry about that. I don't really usually get that one, so I'm not going to get it this time. So many sheep and ram right now, it's actually disgusting. It's bothersome, because normally I would be having a field day out here, killing all of them. But it seems that these two are not going to leave me alone, so I guess I've got to kill them. So it's a really good excuse to have to just take them out. So let's go ahead and grab any rune essence we can find this way. Hopefully that we don't run into too many monsters out here, too many Garu, because I really don't want to deal with that right now. But obviously I don't get to pick. Let's see, I normally don't really get these. So it's just really just for more essence. That way we can push our progression a little bit further. And obviously get what we want to be in the game. So, terrible. It's just terrible. We got a ranger over there, which is unfortunate. So I think that's going to... Oh, we got another one. So I don't think we're going to go over there. We're going to save those for a different video. So those are sort of just going to stay and get built up. Obviously, it's more important for survival than it is to get another 5 rocks. This is ridiculous. I was trying to kill him with the pickaxe. Really, I was trying to just hit the rock so I could continue on my little journey, and then I'm going to get hit with a lightning bolt. Not really a big deal. I do want to run over here and shoot these down really quick since I'm right here. I won't. I mean, I could mine them. I'm not going to. I sort of missed a couple shots. It's because I'm concerned about where those archers are, and they're actually on their way over here right now. So, does he see me? I don't think he does, but he's aware of me. And he turned around, so that's good. Hopefully I can shoot these down. There we go. So those are shot down now. And then I can grab the little bit that are right here. It's unfortunate we didn't get to get those, but at the same time, it's really not that big of a deal. I feel like we got quite a bit of rune essence. And that little bit right there will be there next time, and it's important that we shooted it down, because obviously now next time it'll be respawned and there'll be more waiting. So let's go ahead and blast all these. We've only got 2 more locations left, and this is why, perfect example of why I do not like to do so much in one video. I'm kind of exhausted, to be quite honest. I feel like I mined way too much of it. And it took a really long time. And it also, if you've made it this far in the video, I mean, and we just, look how much more up there we missed. I mean, there's so many more locations that if you really wanted to, you could actually have lodestone at all of them. So, I guess it just depends on how, crazy you want to be about it. Obviously, I feel like I'm already really crazy about it. But you could be even more crazy. So, it's a level of crazy. I think I'm like a level 7 or 8 of crazy. And then there's a total of 10. That's like the marks. And I'm at like maybe 7 or 8. I'm not sure where. But maybe I'm even higher. Maybe I'm underselling it. I'm not sure. But just so we're clear, we're almost done. We've basically just got a couple rocks left. Then we're going to do an XP update, and then we're going to send you on your way. And I feel like we should have got quite a bit of rune rune crafting XP from this as well. But we're going to have so much rune essence to make runes with. We're probably going to have to make more chests because we're not going to be able to hold all the runes. So I think what we'll do is when we decide what rune we're going to make, we're probably going to have to make one that already has chests that are empty, so we don't just have to go back to the Blightwood, the Bloodblight Swamp, and basically get a ridiculous more amount of Bloodblight logs, because obviously we've only got so many, and it's important to have extras to fix our stuff, as that's what it takes to fix it. So finally, we managed to finish such a journey just to gather essence. An absurd amount that I don't think we'll ever use while we play the game. Not all of it anyway. So here we are, we're back. Let's go ahead and drop the essence in and see how much we got. And it should be a crazy amount. It's not going in, there we go. So that's crazy right there. I mean, you figure there's what, 8, 16, 23, so like 2,300, but then take away one for every stack and then a couple for that. So it's probably like 2280, let's say. So 2,280 rune essence, potentially, somewhere around there. That's crazy. And we got a little bit of meat. We got 39 dwellberries. So got quite a bit there, honestly. And all that stuff's going to help us in our progression. So let's go ahead and do an XP update so we can send you guys on your way. We're quite far now into this video. I know we are. So Attack XP 309,000. I think that went up a little bit from fighting, but not a ton. Woodcutting 1,001,000. Construction 2,011,000. Rune crafting 740,000 XP. It doesn't even seem like a lot. It seems like such a small amount. I'm not sure what I was when I started. Maybe it was only like 726,000. I'm not even entirely sure, but it just doesn't seem like a lot. But I guess we're only what, 260,000 XP away from a million, so I think that's incredible. Magic 116,000, so that went up like slightly. Mining 4,141,000, that went up because I was mining. Artisan 4,094,000, and cooking 287,105. So that's pretty much going to do it. We hope you guys are enjoying our content. Thanks for joining us and following along, and hopefully you guys are enjoying your experience in RuneScape Dragonwilds. And until next time, Legion Rooter out.